like a conversation slash mukbang, all that, all in one. I'm truly hungry. I haven't had a sandwich and chips in years. I'm gonna make this brief. Good evening. I was about to eat, but I ain't feel like smacking and talking at the same time. So if you haven't been here before, welcome. I am Tamika Hicks. And today I wanted to talk about why are there so many unsuccessful nonprofits. First of all, I think one of the main misconceptions of a nonprofit is once you create one, there's always going to be money and funds available to make it successful, which is not true. The thought process of that normally comes from a person that doesn't really have that much experience in that sector. So say for instance, if you have a friend that comes and tell you about it, oh yeah, I started a nonprofit, this is and a third. And it honestly took me a while to really start paying attention to how a lot of people move in the community. Am I saying you should not have one? Absolutely not. But I think the main key is for every successful business you have, you should have a nonprofit. Because you always want to put yourself in a situation of giving back or providing a platform or helping, you know, the people that are coming up, or say if it's a certain population that you've helped in the past, to say, okay, well, I want to give back to my community. If I live in the hood, I want to do a food donation. You know, many of the I guess you could say successful people that came out of the community, that's what they generally do, right? So I'm not knocking and saying you should not have one. However, I think it is important to fully educate yourself about it, you know, the entity in itself. So another thing I wanted to touch on, that people don't understand that it's not owned by anyone. So with that being said, like if you have your business, you own your business. You own the intellectual property to your brand once you do it the right way. A nonprofit is something that you will never own. So that's why it's so many benefits and tax exemptions and things of that nature. So what do I mean by you will never own it? When you sign up and you do all the tax exemption, things of that nature, you have to elect a board of directors. So generally the board of directors is people that you're familiar with. Generally there's stipulations you can't have, but you can't have family members, generally like no more than one. So with that being said, with the stipulations being there about the nonprofit sector, it's situated that way strategically, so you cannot it's not a dictatorship. Basically, either you can be a part of the board or you can be an executive. No, let me go back. You can be a board member of it, or you can be an executive director. So say if you created a nonprofit and you said, okay, it's me, I have 4 previous people that I think will be great for the organization. I'm gonna bring them in. We're gonna do a meeting. We're gonna start recording our meetings, and this is at the third, and then you go and start it, right? At that point, either you can be a director or you could be an executive director. Like you can actually run the program. You can run the day-to-day operations. You can make decisions in that way. but it's designed that way because the government has the ability to come in and snatch or regulate how it works. So let's move into different types of nonprofits. So one of the main ones that we all know is on the corner is church. This is one of the reasons why I don't fool with any of them anymore. I think it took a while for me to really get I got the business part, right? But the nonprofit part came more with more reading. Because, like, honestly, I have a grant writing book, like, sitting right beside me right now. And so, with that being said, it's important to know what you're dealing with. Because, again, the churches, it's a nonprofit. Yeah. But another thing about nonprofits, they can't own a lot of things. So generally there's a limitation on how much you can own, how much income you can make from those things as well. So with a business, you can do more. It's really no limitation. So that's why I also say it's recommended to have a successful business, and then of course the nonprofit is always a great way to contribute, and you get good tax exemptions. I'm not gonna lie, because churches get tax exemptions all the time. All of the nonprofits do. So there aren't a lot of successful ones because a lot of people don't understand those principles. So again, they go in thinking, oh, it's always money readily available, but that's not always the case. You have to have it set up to where you understand the importance of fundraising. Some of the strongest organizations I've ever seen, and I've studied their board and the organization. They are comprised of some of the most diverse board members I've ever seen in my life. I see you always see like some type of broker, some type of financial broker, because they know money, they know what to do, and they are generally the ones that help with the financial part. They're really good. Excuse me. And then sometimes you have a real estate investor. Sometimes you have a sheriff in the community, because he can tell you a lot about what's really going on in the world. Like, while everybody has their own specialty and they study different things, they bring different aspects in to make it stronger. A lot of states have like a minimum amount, like maybe 3 people that you would have to have on the board. I literally seen a chart and it was like 30 people. But guess what? That organization has been around for like since like 70 something. They're 1974, 1978 or something like that. They have been around that long because they understood the mission. Like, they did not decide to click up and hang out with people in the community and say, okay, now don't get me wrong, I do also know the community partnerships are very important. So if you don't have any community partnerships, that is one of the things that'll keep you kind of real stagnant, because you have to be able to connect, engage, and find the issues to be able to create the solution. So and linking yourself with really good change agents is very important as well. But again, a lot of people don't understand the process to which it takes to have a successful nonprofit. You have to have a very diverse board. Like, you can't just have, like, I seen, of course, I seen a lot of great educators up there because they have great insight, they have perspective. Many of these people gain this perspective after 30 years of being an educator or being on a school board. Like, that's why when you go into these different boards, like, I'm gonna just give an example of, well, that's not a nonprofit, so that's not a good example. But anyway, they're board members. So say if you go into your local city council, that's not a nonprofit, but it's a board of directors. The thing about it is there are three main duties that they have. I can't think of all of them. One of them is fiduciary. I can't think of all of them. I think it's duty of care and it's another one. So every board has, though, they have a set standard for their members. So with that being said, I was in one and the people were acting, well, was a person was acting very irate. However, that person in their position, they are not supposed to match that. If it's a issue that's beyond them that has nothing to do with their position, they can refer you to someone that can help you. However, it's not their place. And it's a different level of training that you have to continuously engage in to be able to understand that position. So to me, I think when you cross over into the nonprofit sector, there aren't as many people that understands the importance of the board members. Like, the board is the nonprofit. Okay, so your nonprofit is as strong as your board members. So if you go get somebody that does not have experience, that doesn't know it, that just wants a title, that's gonna trickle down into your organization. So I think that's all I have to share on that. I might go ahead and do like a video and talk about a few things, because it's a lot that I've learned on a higher level when it comes to the nonprofit sector that I haven't really had a chance to share. But that's a gist of why a lot of them aren't successful, because knowledge. It's no different than the lack of knowledge for any aspect of your life. If you don't have all of the understanding of, what it all takes to have a board. Like, what is your strategic plan for 5 years for your board? Where is that at? You know what I'm saying? Like, so basically, it's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and people that have more experience in different areas, they're able to come in and talk about those type of strategic plans to help the board achieve their mission, to be more, because like the board is like for the whole collective. It's just not for one person that got an attitude because it didn't go their way. A board has to even make decisions that will benefit people on a macro level, not a macro level. So it some even meso. But yeah, that's all I have. I'm hungry. I'm about to eat my sandwich and I'm ready to go, because I'm hungry. But I just wanted to add that in there and talk about it, because a lot of people really don't understand, and they don't really you have to put yourself in a place with people that know as well. So I'm gonna go back to people that don't understand, and there was so many nonprofits popping up. Now you can keep it active for 10 years. That's not a problem. But to really achieve your mission and do it successfully, and to do it to where you'll be able to fund the organization and help the people, that's something totally different. So, a lot of people really don't even know where to start with applying for grants. You have to be able to write it in a certain way. So, aligning yourself with people that understand that is important. Understanding that you might not get it the first time, but being persistent is important. There are so many different resources and different ways to write them and connect with different people. Partnerships. And I'm going to leave it on that note. Y'all have a great evening.